Good evening, gorgeous people. It's Victoria Terrazzano here from Melbourne again, for those who don't know me. And yeah, this is my second week giving this a go on a regular basis. We'll see what happens. As I said last week, I'm a little bit unsure as to whether anyone's going to get any benefit from this or if it's just going to be about me cementing my learning and sort of sharing whatever thought happens to pop into my head at the time. So this week, I wanted to talk a little bit about a mindset. I have really surprised myself, actually. I've been doing a little bit of self-development reading and stuff like that. Not my usual choice of book. And it has been really quite interesting. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Kim. How you going? I've been surprised by some of the stuff I've read and how it's sort of impacted on me and the way it's made me think. I quite often sort of thought I was pretty sure about what I was doing or knew where I was going. And obviously I recently discovered that actually I had no goal and no clue and hadn't really thought past having children in the first place. And that was as far as we went. Sort of trying to work out how we expected life to look now and what we wanted to do. And it occurred to me, I don't think we've really goal set much at all as a society, really. I don't think it's something that's encouraged or discussed until much later. And certainly depending on the sort of the business area or the field that you go into may not even really be discussed at all. I know when I was young, I sort of had to pick, in the UK, they called them GCSEs at the time, at the age of about 11. So I was supposed to have a rough idea what I wanted to do for a living from about 11 years old. And then based on that, I kind of then had to pick A-levels to sort of, narrow down my field of study and sort of ended up sort of moving into a career that kind of went with those things. And I look back at it and I think, I really wanted to be an air traffic controller for quite a long time. That's what I wanted to be. And it's really interesting how having that goal really motivated me to do things and got me to where I actually ended up being, but didn't actually take me to where I was aiming for. And I think that is probably the biggest lesson that I've learned in life, that it's not about the goal. It's never about the goal. It's actually about aiming for something and having a direction and having a purpose, because you will achieve things you didn't realize you were going to achieve, or you will learn things you didn't know you were going to learn. And it will give you opportunities to go and do other things rather than necessarily just getting you to your goal. I found that quite an interesting process along the way. But I wanted to talk a little bit about how your mindset can actually affect how happy you are, funnily enough, are just really small things, like really, really small things. Basically doing the same action, but with a different mindset actually has a massively different result. So I think particularly obviously in relation to what I'm doing at the moment, I wanted to talk a little bit about things like weight loss or health or going to the gym. Okay, so for me, I've noticed there's a lot of people that when they talk about being a bit overweight, they say things like, I need to get down the gym more. And I think to myself, it seems to me there's a bit of a misconception that you lose weight at the gym. And I don't think that's what the gym is for. I think if you're going to go to the gym, you need to go to the gym with the goal and the aim of getting stronger and getting fitter and being a bit healthier. Okay, because if you go to the gym with the goal and the aim of I want to lose weight, you can go to the gym 5 times a week for an hour for 5 weeks and not actually feel like you're getting anywhere. And that can be quite depressing and it can kind of make you feel like you've failed or sort of really make it difficult to stick to. But it also makes going to the gym like a chore because you don't feel like you're getting anywhere. Whereas if you go to the gym and you say, right, okay, I want to improve my fitness or I want to improve my strength, it's much easier to see even a small progress on that. If you go in and you can't lift anything and then you go in a week later and you can start lifting things, you can see that you've progressed. You can see you've moved forward. That's a very positive thing. It helps motivate you to go back. It keeps you going stronger. So going to the gym with the right aim can really change how committed you are to staying going to the gym, how successful you feel about going to the gym, and therefore how you feel about the whole process. And I think quite often people sort of go to the gym because they think they ought to, and they do it because they want to lose weight. And I'm back to, I don't think the gym is where you lose weight. I think losing weight is a lot more to do with your gut health and your nutrition than it is about exercise. When you get to a certain point and you're already very healthy and your body is already working very efficiently, then yes, absolutely, exercise becomes a fundamental part of losing weight. But that isn't what exercise should be, certainly not if you've not already been exercising loads. And so I think we're back to your mindset makes a big difference to how you approach something, how you stick with it, how far you go. And there's a lot of little things that you can change your mindset about without even realizing that you've changed your mindset about them. So like with weight loss, I think, if you go to a doctor and you tell them that you have, well, pretty much any problem, they might say to you, oh, if you lose a bit of weight, that'll help. But they're unlikely to say to you, have you spoken to someone about your diet? We need to review it. We need to improve your nutrition. We need to help you get healthier. And everyone really does and they are linked, don't get me wrong, weight and health are absolutely linked. But I think more often than not, we focus heavily on trying to lose weight and forget about trying to be healthy and trying to just fuel our body with what it needs and trying to support the way our system works and encourage our system to work better for us. And I think that's a bit of a shame, because I think I tried to lose weight for years and I struggled. And I think it's a bit like with the gym. I went to the gym because I thought I had to, and I struggled. Once I started going to the gym without any need to go to the gym from a weight loss point of view, it was much more from a social point of view and a fitness point of view and a sort of strength point of view. I found it much, much easier to stick with and to sort of stay. So I don't know, maybe other people are looking at me going, how did she not understand this? We've all known this for years. And that's always my big concern, that I'm the only person that hasn't noticed this yet or didn't work this out until they were 40 years old. But I just figure, if I share that I've learnt that this week, you never know, there might be someone else who hasn't worked it out yet either. Or there might be a whole bunch of people who might be able to give me some more advice about where I need to go next, because they worked it out years ago and they know what came next, which would be really, really helpful. So if you've got any tips, Dave, send them over. That'd be awesome. Hi, Saleh. Good to see you. So I wanted to talk about the mindset and how, for example, we talk a lot about time in this house and how much time we've got to do things. And I'm always being told, we haven't got enough time to do that. And there's not enough time to. And I feel like we spend a lot of time talking about not having enough time. And we probably have a bit more time if we stopped having those conversations and just got on with it. And there is an old saying, which I always find really amusing, which is, if you want something done, ask a busy person. And part of it's to do with the speed at which they approach jobs and tasks. So because they have other things that they need to do, and because they have to finish this job at a set time, they will not dally. They will not take their time over it. They will not, sort of potter. They will get the job done as quickly as possible and move on to the next one. And you'd be surprised how many things you can do in a day without actually necessarily rushing, but just not dawdling. So we were talking the other day about how, if you're feeling alert and awake and you've got a lot on and you go to the supermarket, you can do the supermarket shop probably in 25 to 30 minutes. I've gone into the supermarket sometimes in a bit of a brain fog with no idea what's going on. And it's taken me an hour to walk around the supermarket and pay. And I've just gone, that was a bit of a waste of time. I didn't need to spend an hour at the supermarket, But I think sometimes we do lose a little bit of time in our day because we're not necessarily focused on getting to the next task or doing that task as quickly as possible to move on. I think sometimes we just sort of potter. And that's not a bad thing. Pottering is good for you. But I just think if you do it all week, you miss some opportunities and you're not going to spend as much time as you think. And we have historically spent a lot of time watching the television. And I find it quite interesting that since I've started on this route, there's so many things have changed in our lives and in our whole lifestyle generally. But one of the things that did really surprise me is actually the amount of time that we spend watching the telly, because actually we very rarely have the telly on anymore. The kids watch it quite a bit. We've actually recently set a new rule that there will be no telly during the week in our house for anyone, just because we want to make sure that, we're getting, focused on what we can and can't do. But I think the telly is quite an interesting draining point for a lot of us, really. But yeah, I just thought I'd come on and chat this week about something that wasn't about selling anything. It wasn't about, trying to change your mind over anything. I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things I'm learning. And someone said something today, a nurse friend of mine, lovely man, and he said, you go to the doctor and you ask them about your health and they say you need to lose weight and they don't ever talk about your diet. And I thought that reminds me a lot of something that was said to me when I went and had my surgery at 17 and then again at 19. And then I spoke to a few, I had a Japanese osteopathy guy in the UK, he did Seitai, wonderful man. And I was talking to him and he said, look, the thing is, if you go to a surgeon and you ask them for a solution about fixing your back problem, they are going to suggest surgery. And they are going to suggest surgery because that is what they know. And people do tend to go with what they know. And people like what they know. It's familiar. It's, whatever. But I sit there and I think sometimes doctors do that a lot. Like they're used to the pharmaceutical answer. They're used to that. But also people today are very immediate. Like we want an immediate result. We want to know exactly, like in 2 weeks' time, we want to be better. We don't want to be sick anymore. We want to be better in 2 weeks. And the thing about modern medicine and drugs and stuff is that they will have that immediate impact. They will have that reduction in symptoms and that feeling better really quite quickly. But in the long term, your body's going to struggle, And I have to be honest, I love modern medicine. I think it's amazing. I am constantly inspired and just astounded by how clever people are and what we can achieve and what we know and what we understand about how the human body works. But equally, I'm also astounded about how much ignorance there is about how the human body works just among the general populace based on, sort of advertising and direction from, various large companies. I used to believe that no one would go out there and deliberately harm other people or whatever else, and then you look at things like aspartame, like how can that even be on the market? How can that be in any product on any shelf when they know the results that it has in your body, when they know the damage it can do to your body? Why would it be possible to get anything onto a shelf in a supermarket that contains it? Because it's really bad for you. Like it's really, really bad for you. There's stuff out there that you can eat that actually contains petroleum. Like, would you eat petrol if someone suggested it to you? Like but if you're not reading labels because you're assuming that it wouldn't be on the shelf if it was bad for you, you kind of end up in a problem, And I'm really fascinated by all the stuff that I've been learning, and I'm feeling a bit like I've been a bit naive and a bit silly as a consumer to just assume that certain things would be safe or would be okay. And yeah, I feel like a bit of an idiot, to be honest. And I'm intrigued by feeling like an idiot because, that's new to me. And I like new feelings. It's good. We're learning all the time. And I'm getting a lot of stuff with that with Luca as well. So we're learning a lot about the autism and how the brain works and how all these things go. And it's been fascinating to me to learn all these new things. But it's really surprised me, the little things that I thought that I did know that obviously I didn't, or that I thought I knew but I hadn't known well enough. So I always knew fruit and veg was good for me. I had no idea the extent of what it would do. I always knew omegas were good for you. I didn't really understand why or what they did, I always understood that I should go to the gym for health and fitness, but in a way it was kind of intrinsically linked in my head to weight, I always knew that losing weight was good for me. I didn't really ever focus on trying to be healthy. I always focused on losing weight. And I feel like I was self-sabotaging in a way. I think sometimes we make life harder than it needs to be because we misunderstand or we're, misled slightly about what is or isn't going to be effective, and I fell for some of that because it was easier, because it was the easy answer. It was something that was going to be okay. Yeah, I'll go and do that, And I wanted to say to people, if you're going to the gym because you think you're going to lose weight, change your mindset because it's going to depress you. And that's not to say don't go to the gym. Go to the gym. It's really good for you. But it's not going to have the best effect on your weight. Your weight is going to come off when you start fixing your nutrition and focusing on your health, because it's healthy not to be overweight. So your body will naturally bring your weight down when it's trying to be healthy and when it's trying to work at its optimal level. And yeah, that's my random thoughts for the day. I'm not sure if anyone has any comments or anything to add or any questions or, yeah. It was nice of everyone to jump on. Thank you. And yeah, it's a bit late. I think my brain's fried. It's been a long week already and it's only Monday. But I'm excited for the rest of the week. I really am. And I think it's going to be a good week. I can feel it. So I hope everyone else has a good week too. And I'm hoping the weather's going to get a bit warmer here because we've just come into spring and we're really excited about spring. And I'm really excited about some of the new packages that are coming out that I'm going to be able to offer and things like that. So yeah, it's going to be a really good week. And I hope you all have a really good week. And thanks for listening. And hopefully you got something out of this. If you did, let me know. And if you didn't, don't worry about it. Let me know that too. That would be good. If it's a good time, let me know as well, because I'm trying to work out what time to do these. And yeah, if you can just let me know if you listened on a live or a replay, that's helpful so that I can work out the times. And yeah, any particular topics you want me to randomly spew my thoughts on, let me know. All right. Have a good week, guys. See you later. Bye.